evening to you, and how are you, my wonderful viewers? Welcome to the Feminine Drive on this, what I'm still saying, rainy Friday evening, because we had rain, well, at least in the east, had rain whole day today. It just eased up a bit for me to come to the studio. How are we all going? How we doing in this blessed land, Trinidad and Tobago? Yes, in spite of, we are a blessed nation. I ain't saying anything else. Are we keeping safe? Are we sanitizing, washing our hands, keeping our distance? Yeah? How the vaccine going? You're waiting? I know some people have to hold on. Yeah? But we're going good. We have to go good. All hands on deck. This Trinidad and Tobago belongs to us, you know. Yes. And we have to band together. Yeah? It will work out. So, I am your host, Warrior Empress, and another Friday again, I'm inside. You can find me on Instagram as the Shantwell Queen, D as in dynamic, Shantwell Queen, or you can visit my YouTube channel, Warrior Empress, where you will see all the past episodes of The Feminine Drive and listen to my music. Or you can go to Facebook where I'm Warrior Empress. Yeah? So I'm on 3 platforms where you can find me. This evening, we have a very dynamic guest. But before we go to that guest, I have this book. It's called Corona, a collection of poems. And it is by a young lady by the name of Camille Danclair. So, you know, they say in the midst of crisis lies opportunity, and it brings out the best of us. This young lady decided she always liked writing from since in school and poems. And she said, you know what? The whole pandemic, being home, having the time, she decided to put her writing skills to practice. And she came up with this book, right? The book is only $100. Only $100. And Camille can be contacted at 279-6073. 279-6073. Let's support Camille. You know, this is my copy. I'm so excited to read it. But I can tell you, the poems are quite exciting. So, as I was saying, our guest this evening is a very dynamic woman, Camille McMillan Rambharat. And I think the whole of Trinidad and Tobago know that's the wife of the Honorable Clarence Rambharat. But she's here this evening to talk about Camille. If all you're calling, don't call tax, nothing about agriculture and the minister. I'm interviewing Camille this evening. All right? So we're going to be speaking with Camille, who is the founder of Canboulay Training and Development. Right? She offers training and development to persons and to institutions. And she will tell us more about that in detail. But you know, we have to go for a little advertisement. We have to, you know, say thanks to the sponsors, right? Persons who have been there sticking with the Feminine Drive. That's very important. And you know what they say, ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft. So we don't want to be ungrateful at all, right? So share the live, call your friend. We on, the Feminine Drive is on with Camille McMillan Rambaraz. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Ijo Olorisha charitable organization, unification of people worldwide. We exist to serve humanity. We help those in need. We help with clothes, food, shelter, and so much more. Today, we urge you to help the helpers by contributing to JMMB bank account 007 7000 17168. Thank you for helping us to continue helping those in need of help. Call us at 464-4264. Aje.
Drive. Listener, real excitement in the studio this evening, you know. Let me tell you all, there's my birthday weekend. Right? So I start. You see how I dress up? I mean, as always dress up here, but the energy is high. I starting the thing from this evening. So like them start to in the studio. You see I come back on camera smiling. We back inside the Feminine Drive. And I'm going to welcome my guests. I ain't spending no more time. Welcome Camille, McMillan, Rambharat. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and happy birthday tomorrow, right?
Sunday. It's Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, well, close enough. Happy birthday, and I wish you many, many more. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Very nice. You look like a ray of sunshine. Everything is so bright and full of life. You look lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you as well. I love your earrings. I'm an earring person, so I'm loving yours.
Good. I'm going to give you a hookup off air. I'll give you a hookup for some earrings.
Promise, huh?
Yes, I promise. I promise. Right, so as I said before, you are a dynamic woman, and you are, you know, as I said, we cannot ignore the fact that you are the wife of a politician, the Honorable Clarence Rambharat. But I like it when persons have their own life. You know, we are dealing, they're not under the shadows of, be it their husband who is a minister or their wife who, you know, is that person in society. And I like that. You are a free thinker. I follow your posts on Facebook. You know, you're a strong woman. And I like that. You're very independent of thought. So tell us a bit. Who is Camille McMillan Rambharat? Who exactly is this woman?
Oh, Lord, all you have enough time? Okay, so I grew up with, I'm the only girl among five brothers. And to me, I always had to create my own space. My dad will say, you always think you're one of the boys. So for me, I really had to make, not to get the attention, but to stand up for myself. And growing up with a family, especially women in my family, especially on my dad's side, really left, you know, they were so instrumental. You are young, and that's why it's important. We have to watch what we are doing, because things that were being taught, things we didn't think, at least I didn't think left any impression on me, obviously did. My father and I really, really close, and he gave me, where my mom, and this is not bashing my mom, so where my mom felt that I needed to be in the kitchen and learn to cook and all those things, my dad was fine with letting me be or say anything as long as I am respectful. And he always believed in giving back. Very spiritual man. We had to go to church every Sunday from growing up. He believed in God. I'm now the spiritual part of it. So all those things, always give. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand doing. You know, all those things. And it's in my DNA. It's in my DNA. It goes way back to ancestral days, right? That we aren't aware that why do we do certain things? Why do we have to fight for our space as Black women, especially as Black women? So I've always stood up for people who I always feel their voices aren't being heard. Child marriage, that's how I got involved in child marriage. I felt more should have been done. People felt I shouldn't get involved as a minister's wife. And I really tried staying behind the scenes. I really, really tried staying behind the scenes, and I couldn't, because again, it was wrong, I felt, and I felt it was for me to come out and respecting my husband's space and his profession. I needed to be out there, and I took the good and the bad and the ugly with it. So yeah, I'm a champion for young people, women. I hate the word minority group, but BIPOC people, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, just our voices need to be heard. And it's not so much about me, it's about the other generation to have it easier than I did.
Where did you grow up, Camille? Where in Trinidad and Tobago did you grow up?
Well, I'm a Point girl. If I say otherwise, they will disown me.
You're from
Point? Yeah, my dad. Yeah, on my dad's side, Point. Hiker, we were in Labre, and then Point. So my father, his family born and bred, that's where we spent what used to be called August vacation. That was like going away, right? That whole long trip. And then my family, my dad moved out of, and where did we move to? El Socorro. Yeah. So when I say to people, I lived in Mohammedsville in El Socorro, they go, no way. Right? No way. And I'm not no spring chicken, right? So you can imagine how many moons ago. But my family is very multicultural. My dad, my mom accepted anyone that was passing by. So I've always been exposed to, and my family is very, very diverse. There's nothing that's missing in my family.
So you were exposed, as they said, as the saying goes, Trinidad and Tobago is a melting pot. It's a cosmopolitan country, and your family was the epitome of that, correct?
Yeah, without even realizing. And that's why I'm more aware of things I do and say, because if I can just change 1% mind of, going a different way or to, okay, so for instance, my dad, okay, all your door judgment now, right? So my dad believed in his tithes and offerings, like every Sunday. And as he got older, he would say, just put this in the envelope and seal it for me, count it. When I count, I was like, you really think Jesus need all this money, right? You really think? But he would always say to me, I don't care. Like, he had so many people. And I'd be like, what if they're buying drugs with it? What if it's a lie? And he would always say, that's none of your business.
Correct.
If they said they needed something with food for children or whatever, he would say, that's none of my business. You give.
That's right.
And if you give helping someone, they can go do whatever.
Correct.
Right? So all those things, it's just a combination. And I love to see it today in our children. That when our children say something and be like, Mom, this is what I did. And it's being passed down.
Yes, yeah. Because again, it is, the impressionable, and what we do, sometimes we think children, I'm talking about toddlers, don't observe what we do, but they do, and they record everything. And then you see it manifest as they get older. So that's why it is so important as it pertains to doing the correct thing around them, as it pertains to their values, etc. I remember when I contacted you to be a guest on this show, you said, make sure and put McMillan, eh? Don't leave out my McMillan. Camille, McMillan, Rambharat. You said my ancestors mean a lot to me. Tell me something about, in terms of how you view your ancestral lineage. How much does it mean to you?
Mm-hmm. Well, growing up, and it's so funny because my name is so long, people automatically remove McMillan, and I have to always say, put my dad's name in there. So for me, growing up, it was about, you have a Scottish name, and you have to, my great-great-granddaddy, whatever, and you told that story. Before I answered that, there's a backstory. About 3-4 years ago, I have no idea, I became I'm getting goosebumps about this. I became obsessed about my ancestors. And I kept saying, I want God, if I cry, you guys not going to show this. But I just became so like, you need to know about your home. it was just something inside of me. Where did I come from? My husband, Rambharat. People would say, oh, Rambharat, that's a powerful name. And I would have to say, yes, I know the village that my husband's ancestors came from, what the name means, every single thing. Like, he can go there now. I don't have a clue. I don't. And
Camille,
for some reason,
we need to go for a quick emergency break. We'll be right back. Sorry to cut you, but we need to go for a quick break.
Ijo Olorisha charitable organization, unification of people worldwide. We exist to serve humanity. We help those in need. We help with clothes, food, shelter, and so much more. Today, we urge you to help the helpers by contributing to JMMB bank account 007 7000 17168. Thank you for helping us to continue helping those in need of help. Call us at 464-4264. Aje.
Inside the Feminine Drive, and if you just joined us, our guest this evening is Camille McMillan Rambharat, and we are speaking about self-empowerment. So if you just joined us, share the live. Don't forget, share the live. Share the live. Camille is so much fun, eh? She just have me smiling. Camille, are you there? Right. So
yes, I am. Yeah.
Before we went for the break, you know, I asked you about your ancestors and the significance of your ancestors, because you told me, don't forget to put my McMillan, put my Camille McMillan Rambharat. And you started off by saying, where your husband's name is concerned, Rambharat, you all would have traced it back to the his ancestral place where they came from. But with you, you don't have a clue.
Yeah, because it's my slave name. McMillan is a slave name. It's the people who owned my ancestors.
Correct. And
it's something that I'm very proud of, right? So when people remove McMillan, I'm like, no, I need that name. It's really powerful and it means a lot to me. So I really just went on this quest to find out who I am, how did we get to where we got? And really, I just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I found myself in such an amazing place where it has given me even more boldness.
Yes.
Right? Because women, and again, Black women, we have to be bold to take up space without being, sorry. Some people felt that some of my comments, they're too harsh and you have to be careful. And I'm like, okay, so you don't want me to say colonizers. Should I say the people who had captured my ancestors? We have to name things, and it's okay to be uncomfortable, because that's when we could deal with the issue. And as you know, going to school in Trinidad, what the education system was about, right?
Of course.
And if anyone could tell me that little Black boys and girls and others weren't affected in some way by knowing you mean nothing, that your ancestors were slaves, that, they didn't know to speak, all those things must affect, it may not affect some, but some would have been affected. So it's really to educate people who need to be educated. And this is not just a Black thing. History is not just a Black thing. History is bringing all these voices by people whose voices were silent for centuries and continue to be silent. You saw my post wishing the deceased. I had no idea. I had no idea. I had no idea. I did that. And people were upset about it, and I'm fine with that. People called me all sorts of names. They were more interested how I offended the colonizers.
And that is what it is.
What about that statement really offended people? Because I never said, so if I say, I hope my ancestors welcome you, do you feel that my ancestors are in hell? Did you automatically think? You know, why did you think? I said nothing to me. And, you know, it's just one of those things that eventually people will get it. And
you know, you said eventually, and I hope they get it. Whilst we were growing up, they would tell us little girls must be seen and not heard. You know, I remember walking in the streets with my mom, and if I see a school friend, I calling her out, and hey, Cheryl, and my mother will pinch me. Don't call out people like little girls must be seen and not heard. And I grow with that, and grow with it to the point where you feel, even in relationships, even in marriages, some women even feel they shouldn't say anything, and they are expected not to say anything, to be quiet. So now, in this era, you're right, Camille, the brave ones, the bold ones, must be the voice for the voiceless. Not everybody can be made from the stock of Camille, McMillan, Rambharat, or Warrior Empress, or N2 Springer, or all these women. Not all women would be cut from the same cloth, but we must have those who would champion the cause for women and African people on the whole, who just believe they don't have a voice. And you are so correct. You are so correct. Yeah. You know.
But not only that, always others are quick to silence us.
Yes.
Always quick to silence a Black voice. And at this stage in my life, going back to what you said, you were growing up, I couldn't be as loud as my brothers because you're a girl, you have to be seen and not heard. My brothers didn't need to know how to cook because I needed to cook, right? So all these things you were put in a box, even from school. I mean, our children, only just over a year or 2 years saw their mother's natural hair.
Wow.
I didn't even know what to do with my natural hair. I had no idea what to do with it because from a very early age, every Sunday, I'm going to age myself here. My mom would send me in the shop a little square plastic thing with egg shampoo. I think they used to call it.
You remember?
All right.
You remember that egg shampoo?
Every Sunday to wash that hair, right? So, what's that the name? Egg shampoo?
Egg shampoo.
Right. So every Sunday. And so that will be Sunday morning. This was a ritual every Sunday. And then you sit in the kitchen on top of the carrot box and you take the newspaper and the hot comb and blow right straight in my hair. Just forever from a young age. I would think from age 6, as far as I could remember. And then as I got older, you had goalies.
Yes, burn out your skull.
You remember that? Like, why? So I just got to a stage where I'm like,
cracking me up, yes?
yeah. So it's to empower women who are ashamed.
Yes.
Or feel that if I do this, you know, people have said to me again, I shouldn't wear such high heels because I look taller than my husband. And I'm like, no, my husband will have to wear heels because I am not giving up my heels. I'm not doing that.
You love heels.
Right. I love my heels. Do you? You as well?
Well, coming from the corporate world, that was like every day for years. So you see me now, Camille, unless I have to go on a stage, and sometimes on stage I just do bare feet. Nah, not so big on heels anymore.
But I still love my heels, right? And so it's about how you dress, your hair, just like everything. And I want to say to people, it's my hair. It's my hair. This is who I am. And I feel really proud. Last year, my daughter and I, we went for a walk, and we were walking and the rain came down. I'm like, oh my God, I have to go sheltered. She looked at me and she's like, woman, you don't have to. Your hair natural. That will bounce off. And I was like, oh. And I just love it. I love it. The kids, the children love it. And my husband is
of course,
he loves it.
Mr. Rambarat would love it. You know, and once you are comfortable with who you are, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And when we could culture our children to be like that, self-love, be comfortable with you, then their life becomes easier, because a lot of us rather, didn't grow with that culture. We had a lot of inferiority complex that we had to overcome and conquer as we grow older. So that if we have the knowledge now, as you said, we have to be a voice for the voiceless. We have to help our children not go through what we went through. So Camille, those experiences, of course, shape the woman that you are. The strong woman, wanting to know about her ancestors, very adamant about her ancestors, etc. We are going in now into that aspect of you empowering others and decided, you know what, I am going to have an institution where I could lend of myself, right? Of course, you would have had your academic training, but it had to come from a place of passion. What ignited that passion to empower others?
Mm-hmm. Again, it just came natural. It's in my DNA. It goes back to the DNA, right? And how I was brought up. And the woman in my family on both my mother and father's side, really, really, they were great role models for me. So it's just natural to do. I love working with youth. Again, that's my passion. So I worked at NESC as a PR and marketing officer, working with the young people. So I would go to the schools and just really love these children, especially boys. They were mostly young men at that time. And, you know, there was one child that he got into trouble. And they said, that's it, you have to leave. They were kicking him out of the program. And he called me and he said, Miss Camille, please, I promise you, he begged. And I said to him, everyone deserves another try, chance. And I went to my manager and they were saying, well, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, no, you know, let's just give this child, a young man, a second chance, who really just turned that second chance. Well, I threatened him, right? I said, if you putting my name on the block, don't let me have to hear that you're not doing well. But that support, and it was there just working with young people, giving them chances. I want my daughter and my boys to grow up, just to pass this on. Migrating to Canada, again, coming out and working with I've always championed young people and women. And sometimes when I post that on my page, men will be like, so what about the men? I'm like, oh gosh, you do the men now. I can't do everything.
Listen. Camille, when I started this program, some of my male friends would say, so is only woman here bringing on the show? What happened to men? I say, but one all you start a show for man now? Well, people have to be always breastfeeding all year. Yeah, exactly. So when I get knocked with, I would say, well, you start something. This is my path. And grow and crew. And then eventually
after my dad, so I've always been in self-employment. My dad, I grew up with him, self-employment. And we were always part of that company, and it was really, really amazing and empowering for me again as a woman. And I decided recently, after my dad passed, and the world just started to show its ugly head, and there was an experience at my job, and it left me shocked that employers can get away with, sometimes as far as murder, right? Just treat employees as trash, like trash, especially. And I felt as a Black woman that because no one else looked like me, that no one cared. So again, I had to be my voice for me. But I said to a young man today, this is beyond me. This is for others who are too afraid to speak about workplace bullying and harassment,
Yes.
who are afraid to, I experienced sexual harassment in the workplace. Who do you have to go report it to? The male boss.
Yes.
Right? And what did he say to me? Oh, are you sure? You sure you didn't miss, right? All those things. I don't want my daughter to go through that. I don't want my daughter, and I couldn't say anything because I wanted my job. I worked with, go ahead, sorry.
No, you were saying you didn't want your daughter to go through that, and I said, or son. Or son.
Awesome. Right, exactly, thanks. Or sons. And it's just all those things that I've experienced throughout my career, working with employers, seeing friends, just go through giving everything and not stopping to take care of themselves, mental health. So now I just decided, what? I need my self-employment. So what I've been doing, exactly what I've been doing for all these years, more so concentrated on immigrants and youth at risk. When I migrated to Canada, I just decided, what? Making money for all of them, I might as well make money for myself.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Yeah, and my daughter's at that age where, being a young lady, I just need to be closer to her and spend time and really work on my mental health, my family, so much. It has been a long, hard journey, and the last 2 years taught me some lessons that, there were times I would say to God, like, what? Like, seriously, why me? I would argue with him. I'll threaten to go to his mother and complain because I remind him about the wedding when she tell him, get the people the wine, right? But then I would always end my prayer in, only if it's your will.
Yes.
Only if it is your will.
Because we
right?
came here, Camille, all of us, we came here with a destiny to fulfill. We have a job to do. We came here to be exactly who we are. Well, when I say exactly who we are, I'm not saying there isn't room for improvement. What I'm saying really is we came here to fulfill our destiny, not to be like somebody else. And we would all have challenges in fulfilling that role. A lot of us think, well, or there might be persons who listening to this show saying, the wife of the minister, well, what problem she could be going through? But it has nothing to do with that. Even persons who we consider wealthy, everybody have their own cross to bear. My mother will continue to say that. So it is not right for us to sit where we are and make these pronouncements and these judgments to say who we feel they have no problem because there's no. No. Your problems end when you transition from this physical realm. But once you're here,
exactly.
Problems. So tell us a little more.
Life, right?
Tell us a little more about Canboulay training, zeroing exactly to what you do with the organization.
Okay, so let me just correct the issues that I went through 2 years ago. It had nothing to do with my marriage. You got Trini could take that and go all over. It had nothing to do with my marriage, Julia. It was all work related. So Canboulay came out from my desire to again serve and to offer services focusing on youth and women, everyone. To better understand their role on this earth, this transitioning, right? Because we are on a journey, right, to one destination.
Of course.
Everyone. So I offer coaching and job searching, mental health, especially my new, the one that I'm focused on now and doing a lot of guest speaking on, is workplace bullying and harassment, which is, it is breaking people. Employers are threatening people. You can't speak about it. And so that's my advocacy right now. I reached out to someone last year to do a presentation, a company, and he said, you know what, I don't think that's a thing in Canada, in Trinidad, you know. I said, no, Trinidad and Tobago is a bullying society, right? You walk the street, somebody, right, it's sexual harassment, whatever it is. And I felt it was something to address. And he said, you know, nah, that's not a Trini thing. Since I started my workplace bullying and harassment, people would be shocked the amount of emails, not emails, inbox messages to say to me, oh my God, Mrs. Rambharat, this is what happened to me, right? I have someone who said she had to retire early because of workplace bullying and harassment.
Yes, it is real. And that person who told you that is not applicable to Trinidad, I don't know which part of Trinidad they live in, because I can say now, being a self-employed person, as I said before, I came out of the corporate world, and I am proud to say twice I took employers to the industrial court. Because...
Really?
Yes. Airplane, right? I took employers twice to the industrial court and won. You know, the information is there. The law is there. But what I think it is, and I'm speaking from my experience, persons are saying, boy, you see that long drawn out process, and they feel they would not win at the end. They're thinking it go take long, and it's a whole lot of negatives they look at rather than use the law. The law is there, in all fairness. The industrial law is there. It is there, but of course, there is a process through the Ministry of Labor, right, where they try to work it out there first before going to the court. But to say those things are not applicable in Trinidad and Tobago, it is. But the employees, most people that I speak to, they would say, girl, me are going through that now. You see that long time that will take, and that is their general attitude.
Well, worse than that, people around you would say, well, you don't bother with that. The employer would win.
Yes.
The court is there, right? So you are really, so my work is really to empower people to onboarding, you know. Is there a workplace bullying and harassment discrimination policy? What does it look like? When, you know, I usually say to people, HR is not for you. HR is not on your side. So don't think, and from my experience again, and speaking to people, HR is there to protect the employer.
Correct.
The union is there to protect you.
Supposed to.
Right. I didn't want to say it, but yeah. And
use the minister wife. I will say it's supposed to.
Right? And so some people wouldn't even know where to go.
True.
Right? So again, because everyone is at different stages. Yeah? So if you had said to me, if I were in Trinidad, like where to go, and people said to me, you know, oh, don't bother, leave that alone. You know, you're wasting your time.
Listen to me.
Good for you.
And we have people who are, again, as I said earlier in the discussion, everybody not cut out for certain things. As they would say, everything is not for everybody. And I am grateful that I was always a bold person. And it was not easy, of course, with my process in the industrial court, because it does take time. And in the meantime, you are out of a job, right?
Yeah.
So I understand when some people say don't bother and all of that, but what do you have to lose? You're already out of a job. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
And we need to, persons like yourself, need to continue empowering others. I know it's different. Canada, the working place in Canada, I'm sure it is different to Trinidad and Tobago. I am sure the landscape is different. However, as I said, I want to be fair. The laws are there, and most times it is employees who don't want to go through the process.
In fairness, yes, there are some who would say, I don't want to go through, but some people don't even know it existed. I didn't even know workplace bullying and harassment was a thing until it happened to me, right? So when I went through the system that allows me to do what I have to do to hold the company accountable, one of the questions they had on the form, do you know if your company has a workplace bullying and harassment policy? Right. I don't know. Right? I really didn't know. So those are the things, again, to educate people, and it always begins with our young people.
Yes.
My aim is to get to young people, to teach them the world of work has changed.
Yes.
Employees have power now. And I understand why some people would say, listen, I can't be so brave. I don't want to cause trouble. People said to me, employers will think you're making trouble. And I'm like, okay. And if I'm speaking my truth and it's offending you, my daughter will say that's more of a you problem than a me problem.
Camille.
Because
Go ahead, finish up, yeah.
When my journey comes to an end, like every one of us, we came in one way, we leave in the other way.
Correct.
When I slide into that spot, I always say to my children, don't cry for me. Just say, Mom gave everything.
Celebrate your life. Come here, we're going to go for another commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss racism and your experience with that and how you dealt with it in terms of empowering yourself. And of course, this information will help others as well. So we're going to go for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into that.
Ijo Olorisha charitable organization, unification of people worldwide. We exist to serve humanity. We help those in need. We help with clothes, food, shelter, and so much more. Today, we urge you to help the helpers by contributing to JMMB bank account 007 7000 17168. Thank you for helping us to continue helping those in need of help. Call us at 464-4264. Aje.
Inside the Feminine Drive, we on the home stretch here. Yeah? For those of you who just joined us, we have as our guest this evening Camille McMillan Rambharat, the wife of the Honorable Clarence Rambharat. She's here speaking about self-empowerment, and she's sharing with us all that made her into the woman that she is today, that strong, free thinker, that person that we see aside from the minister wife. Yeah, she's sharing with us what really gave her that strength. So Camille, before we went for the break, and don't forget to share the live, don't forget. Camille, before we went to the break there, I said we was going to jump into racism. Now, the reality is, in Trinidad and Tobago, it exists. An Indo-Trinidadian married to an African Trinidadian. People from different cultural backgrounds. Even though in Trinidad and Tobago, we grew up seeing it, we still have it existing in Trinidad where in some cases, where we have what they call it, the interracial marriages, persons will tell you when they're walking in the streets, they would face abusive language, etc. Has that been your experience being married to an Indo-Trinidadian at any point?
I haven't gotten that, like walking down the street or going anywhere and being abusive. It's the microaggression, right? The things that the body language. So I'll give you an example. And even within ministers' role as being part of the government, we will attend to events. And the car will pull up. We will all come out. I would be well dressed in my heels and everything, and we are going. And the host will come, join him, and people would always ooze me out. And people would say, so who are you? I have been taken for minister's security. You're not well dressed up, huh? Are you his security, his PS? And I've also been mistaken as his PS, yeah, just like anything else, but
his wife.
Mrs. Rambharat. So, it's something that we laugh at it sometimes. We would be out and he would say, there's my wife, because we lived in Chaguanas at one point, and we have always been, minister has always been involved with politics. For me, with my dad growing up, so we, that merge it's always involving politics. And we would be out and he would be like, oh, Camille, that's my wife. And people would look past me. I would have to be, right? But I have never been insulted in person, but the undertones, people would not, some people just have a problem with it. It is an issue. My in-laws, they never treated me anyhow. I was always welcome and loved and everything. So it's outside of that. People always ask about me.
The people who have the problem with things are always the people who it doesn't concern. It's amazing.
Well, that's our society in Trinidad, right? Like, who call you? But you know what? Again, I grew up really insecure. You hated your black skin, just like everything. I was too tall, everything, because again, you have to be silent. You watching your white Jesus, and you saying, born in the image and likeness. And I would say to people, my mother, I'm sure your mom had it, the Sacred Heart.
Yes.
That moved with us over the kitchen door. And I can remember just looking at him, and I always say to people, I think he knew that I knew he wasn't blonde hair, blue eyes. But so much insecurity that now, at this point in my life, no, you are not going to put me in a box. and I try my best not to be offensive to anyone, disrespectful. If I am, through,
Just being
you
powerful.
know, yeah, just being powerful, then ask yourself why.
Exactly.
Why? What? Right.
Exactly.
Why? And try to
Exactly.
understand it.
Yes,
Yeah.
so the problem, if we exude that type of personality and we are strong and our strength and our confidence affects you, then you ask yourself why. So, as you said, you never really went through that other couples may have gone through, but I mean, hearing you just said they would have they taken you for his security. But does the security usually ride with the minister in the back? I mean, is it that you felt at any point it was deliberately done, or you feel they genuinely didn't know? I mean, you're the minister's wife.
You know, I try not to judge people perception. What I usually say, it's either conscious or unconscious.
Nice way.
That's how I look at it. I'm not going to say they did that deliberately unless you say it to me. I'm not going to judge you judging me. So my thing is, I would say because Minister and I would always joke, he's as Indian could be. Like, he don't look mixed up or anything. So I think when people see him, you automatically think he has an Indian wife. Or you hear Mrs. Rambharat, right? So invitations will come, Mr. and Mistress, Minister and Mistress Rambharat. You not even thinking, and then I show up.
Yes.
Right? But we laugh at it. There are people who would be shocked. And I too old for that.
Yes, I like that.
At this point in my life, you know what? I have to do me. That I can't say when I get to the other side and meet the ancestors and they said, we sent you all this empowerment and everything.
What
and
did
we
you do with
spoke to
it?
you. And I didn't, they didn't want me to say it. They were, no. I'm accountable.
That's right.
For me. And
Correct.
I've been like this. I always say to people, everything you see, it's who I am and has always been. My husband getting into politics. He has always been involved in politics, but behind the scene, we are now up front. And I will continue to be who I am during his term, and I'll continue to be after he leaves.
After politics. Camille, this is, so wonderful hearing the way you handle these challenges. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, we need all the expertise, all the help from persons who are willing to develop the nation. You spoke about really loving to work with the youth, and we know they need the help and support. You have any plans of returning to Trinidad and Tobago to lend your support in those areas?
Well, right now, because of COVID, it's easier for Minister to come here because it's cheaper, right? It's one of him and 4 of us. I do work with people in Trinidad with youth. I am happy that everything is online. So it's when I'm coming to Trinidad, when I know I'll be there, I'll be in person. But in the time being, I work with young people. I help them with their cover letter and resumes, their job search, how to prepare for an interview, self-motivation, that you are a brand.
Yes.
Right? You are a brand. When an employer, when you go to an interview, tell me about yourself. What do you say? All these things we have to prepare ourselves. And no one likes speaking about themselves, right? So when an employer says, oh, so tell me about yourself, you go, but if they was to say, oh, so tell me about your brother, tell me about your husband.
Correct,
oh,
yes.
Right? We can't sell ourselves because we came from a culture that's bragging. So
Yeah.
people have,
And
Right.
self-praise. Oh, self-praise is no praise and all that foolishness.
No, self-praise is praise.
Of
Because
course.
if I have to wait for you to do it, I am not going to get it.
Correct.
Right? And I have this thing I say to my children if they said, like my daughter wanted a phone and she wanted I was like, you can have the same phone like me. I pay my dues to have this. You keep down, 2 levels down from my iPhone, right? Every time, it's different stages.
Yes.
You have to go through, and you can't skip the line, because if you skip the line, you would have missed such a valuable
yes, correct.
message.
Correct.
So to get back to the question about with young people, I'm working on putting something together for this summer. If you guys see me sweating, I don't know if you guys have been following this news, but we have a little heat wave going on here. So I am sorry if you're seeing, I'm just going to do this.
That's all right.
I'll come back. So I want to, but there's a particular, I'm trying to work out who am I going to help.
Right.
Is it young people in, what do you call, not prison, but just before bad behavior?
YTC, what we call YTC.
Right. So, at-risk youth, we call it here, right? Just to give them the opportunity to help them, find mentors, because they may not have had it. So I'm also a mentorship specialist to find. Those are the things I want to, it's about equity, right? I don't know if you saw my visual. It's not about, it's everyone. Some people will need more than others.
Yes, correct. And
you can't give
it goes back to the guy that you give a second chance, the student that you give a second chance. So as I said, YTC, and working with them, I am sure there are a lot of persons in that institution want somebody to believe in them again and to give them a second chance.
Have to.
Definitely.
There's a saying, be the person who you wish you had as a young person. I am being the person that I wish I had as a young person.
As a young person,
if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Right? For the younger generation. That's what it is. And mind you, I had my father was my backbone. Always encouraged me when my brothers would be like, she's too loud, tell her to go inside. My friends over, tell her to go inside and put on a pair of, take off that shorts. So I would have to go in, but here's the difference, right? I would have to go in. If my daughter's in shorts and her brothers will say that, my friends are coming over, go and put on something decent. She'd be like, why are your friends looking at me? I'm a child. Right? So again, I am nurturing her voice and her, which she's like, if your friends are your age and they're looking at me as a child, you need to tell your friends, don't come here. I'm not taking off my shorts. I'm like, mom. I'm like, well, she have a point.
That's
right?
That's Camille's daughter,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Camille, you wouldn't believe how the time just fly. And I have to get back in my home by 9 o'clock. I know they would not want any excuse. So, the time...
Tell them, well, I was interviewing the minister's wife. Because my name isn't to call, right?
Camille, listen to me. Hey, I hope everybody hear what Camille, McMillan, Rambaraz said, If I reach them on time, just tell them. Listen, I feel that we're working on.
Gary, don't make joke. Gary not making jokes, so my name wouldn't help you.
You telling me? I don't want to spoil my birthday weekend at all. So this interview has been, so much fun. Camille, I couldn't imagine that you are so much fun. You see how you mustn't judge people by what you see? You see? You are such a fun person. I really enjoyed this
What did you
interview.
judge me to be?
Huh?
What did you judge me to be
I
before
thought
this
you. I
encounter?
thought you would. Honestly, I felt
Mhm.
I was going to interview a more serious person. The whole outlook, because on your page, of course, you're very focused. As I said, you're independent of thought. You say it as it is. You ain't really afraid. So I say, wow, this is going to be. She's going to be real serious, boy. You know. I really didn't expect this highly jovial, fun-loving person. You are phenomenal. I love the mix though. I love the that all those features wrapped up to give this dynamic woman. You understand? Yeah,
I'm so
the
grateful.
minister had to has I know he's skillful, but he has some extra skills. To have you as his wife, he had to have some skills. You
You know
know?
what? And he encouraged, like Clarence has never said to me, don't do or post or whatever, right? And we'll always separate our work. So
Great.
even during child marriage, we did not discuss what's happening, right? So I am so privileged that he supports me in my free thinking from day
Fantastic.
one without stopping me. Because if you go back to my pages from all my posts before, I've always been involved in youth and women, young women.
Camille, I want to thank you again on behalf of Gael TV. I want to thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule, you know, allowing your children to give you the little time to do the interview. I'm sure they're looking on, and I hope they enjoy the interview as well. I really enjoy it. So take care of yourself, and continue working with the young people, continue giving people hope, continue giving second chances to those, of course, that your ancestors will lead you to give second chances, because there are some people, uh, you may not want to give them a second chance, but your spirit will guide you. So continue doing the good work, continue being that positive, bubbly person, and take care of yourself. Stay safe and watch the heat wave. Drink plenty water. We at that age where we have to be hydrating all the time, right?
Listen, speak about yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, that age. Yes, yes. Listen, hydrated, unbothered, and hydrated.
Listen now,
That's
Olia.
me.
She remind me about the egg shampoo, but want to say speak about it. All right.
I can say it, you don't say it.
Listen, you had me laughing whole time. Right? So again, we're saying ciao, we're saying good night, good evening, and all the best to you and of course the minister, the Honorable Clarence Rambharat, and your family. So take care, bye-bye. Well,
Okay, bye.
that was the end of yet another episode of The Feminine Drive, where we spoke with Mrs. Rambharat, Camille McMillan Rambharat, so full of life, so fun-loving. Yes, she's a point girl, from Point Fort, and I bet you didn't know that. Next week on The Feminine Drive, we're going to be dealing with generational curses, and how do we fix that, People always say, boy, there is a generation curse in that family, and see all of them the same way. We're going to be dealing with that next Friday. So until then, this is your host, Warrior Empress, telling you again to stay safe and stay positive. Bye.